This conference will now be recorded.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
We are about to begin our meeting. Do we have any volunteers on prayer?
Heavenly Father, we come to you this morning, thanking you for your goodness, Lord. Love, your mercy, your grace that you bestow upon us. We just ask you to be with us as we take care of the business of the county, what's been placed before us. Just give clear our minds and give us wisdom that we might act in a way that would be pleasing to you. To give us, Lord, what we pay you in all things. It's in Jesus Christ's name, we pray these things. Amen.
Amen. Let's all stand and join me in the pledge of allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. We have before you a proposal, gentlemen. What's the pleasure of the board?
You add anything with Steve?
Bert, you got an item you want to add?
Yes, John Shearer called. He's got an action to quiet title based on a tax sale, and it's out by Ben Harris's property. I need to add it at the end, and I'll explain it further then. But it's nothing that we just need to make a motion to approve it, and move forward.
David? Yeah.
No, sir.
I like to add, I guess parliamentary procedure. Just to talk about that in general and about the district that each one of us represent. Eugene?
I'm good.
Tony?
I'm good, Mr. Chair. I move, Mr. Chairman, we approve their agenda with the addition.
That's it.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor by the show of hands? Okay, that motion carried. Our old minute was mailed and emailed to everybody. What's the pleasure of the board?
Make a motion to accept old minutes that were emailed.
That's second. I do want to. They have a motion and a second. Do we have any discussion on it before we vote on it? If not, all in favor by the show of hands? Okay, that motion carried. Mr. Steve is on the line.
All right, sir. We'll have the financial report at the next meeting for the month of January. Item number 3, just for information, we've had a request to abandon Rose Landing Road. We rescheduled the public hearing for 9:30 at our next meeting on February the 19th. Received public comments on the proposed road abandonment. The letters have been mailed to all the individuals that own property on this section of road. And a notice, Scott, if you would leave that door open, please. Thank you. A notice of the public hearing is being published in the News Observer this weekend, next week. And just briefly go over the notice that was sent to the landowner. There's 3 parcels. There's 3 landowners that own land on that road. Rose Landing Plantation LLC, and a Susie B. Grantham and others, and a Pamela Burnham Crutchfield own land on that road. And this is just a standard letter that we send to any proposed road abandonment. Just lets them know the county commissioners considering the official abandonment of Rose Landing Road, and close them out with the letter. Let them know that the commission will consider this matter at February 19th meeting at 9:30. Purpose of the public hearing is to receive any comments or questions regarding the proposed abandonment, and also letting them know what the next step would be. The next step is for the commissioners to determine if the road has ceased to be used by the public to the extent that no substantial public purpose is served by it. If the county commissioners determine that no substantial public purpose is served by it, then the commissioners may declare this section of the county road system to be abandoned, and thereafter this section of road shall no longer be part of the county road system.
Can you give me some clarity on that substantial
That is exactly what the law says. If y'all determine the road has ceased to be used by the public to the extent that no substantial public purpose is served by it, y'all can vote to abandon it. The law does not define what the threshold is for substantial public purpose. That is left up to the discretion of the Board of Commissioners.
If I could comment, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Public purpose, it was obviously a public purpose to have a public road. So you'd never abandon the road anyway, because it would always be the public purpose. So the word substantial was added to say, does it still serve that purpose? And that's a matter of facts and circumstances, and it's a political consideration determined on what, you've been elected to hear. Does it, it's what evidence is put forward. If no evidence comes forward that there's any reason to keep it open, well, obviously it doesn't serve a substantial public purpose. If a tremendous amount of evidence comes forward, you've got to weigh it to see if that evidence is just being stacked or if it is in fact legitimate. But then you look at what the reasons are. Does it connect to a fire station? Is there a school bus on it? That sort of thing. Does it connect to, how many landowners are affected? It's a facts and circumstances test, and it is up to your discretion as a collective board to determine what that substantial public purpose means.
Okay, that's sort of what I was thinking. I know that part was sort of vague.
Mhm.
And I didn't.
It's not defined on purpose because there's no way to define it until you know which road you're talking about.
Okay. We've got a vacancy on the Board of Health. I talked with Cindy Mercer, who's the nurse at the health department. She suggested we might want to consider putting Don Billiford on there. I haven't had a chance to talk to him yet, so if y'all would let's just don't take action on this today. We'll keep that on the agenda. And this has been on the agenda before. The current lease agreement with the USDA for their service center out at the Business Development Center expires later this year. We got to negotiate that. Keep that on the agenda. I don't have anything new to report on that right now.
Defects lease in that, is that the same group? That's not the same.
Totally different. This, we're negotiating straight with USDA, who's a federal office. The DFAX office building we got to negotiate with the Georgia State Properties Commission for that. That's a state agency stuff. And anyway, hopefully I have something to report on that shortly also, but don't have anything today. Chicken house setbacks. County Commission, y'all have agreed to attend the February 9th Planning Commission. That's next Monday, to talk about proposed changes to the zoning ordinance. One area of concern is the setback requirements for chicken houses, and representatives from the House of Rayford are planning to be in attendance at that meeting. And due to them coming, I think they may have 2 or 3 folks coming. That meeting will be not here. We'll be meeting in the conference room out at the Business Development Center. There'll be more room for us all to sit around the table where we talk to each other. Not some folks around the table and some folks sitting out in the audience out like here. So, but I'll send out a reminder next week.
5:30.
That's next Monday at 5:30 at Business Development Center. This is left over in the last meeting. Don Williford's got a truck chassis in the fire department that they no longer need, but I think Rodney and I have talked about it, and I think we've got a need for it in the road department, so I'm not going to ask y'all to declare it surplus yet. We're going to explore the possibility of using it in the road department right now. Yellowfly Plantation subdivision. We have a group of residents that expressed concern about the condition of the paved road down there, but I believe that's in Commissioner Kayson's district. And he went and met with them, and I think everything's there's no major issues right now. Excuse me, let me turn that off. Garbage fees, we talked about this, Ms. Lynn, would you come up? There was a discussion at the last meeting about the status of delinquent garbage fees. Just to remind everybody, through December of 2024, the county was doing the billing for garbage service, residential and commercial. Waste Management picked up the garbage. Starting January of last year, Waste Management continued to pick up the garbage, and then they started doing the billing and collecting the money directly from the citizens, and we're no longer involved in collecting the money. So last year, Ms. Lynn worked on trying to clean up or get all our past due garbage fees that were owed to us as of the end of 24. And you got a report here. I think basically the total was somewhere around $44,000.
Somewhere around.
And now this is all these, the county has FIFAs recorded against all of these at the courthouse.
Yes. That's your five.
And when we talked about this last year, that was as far as y'all wanted to go with the collection process. There seems to be some desire to revisit that and see if y'all want to, if you want to the next step would be to start the process to turn it over for an eventual sale on the courthouse steps if garbage fees aren't paid. And we would, historically, we have to do that. We would use the same company that the tax commissioner uses when she has a tax sale. So
Yes, that's DTSI, the collection agency out of Atlanta. I talked to the guy, it's been several months back. It's $250 a unit to get them registered with them. So that's close to $22,000 if there's 89 people on this list. So that's something that y'all might want to consider too.
You said how much? 20,
It's close to $250 per person or per unit
right?
to give it over to DTSI to collect.
And that's a total of what?
Close to 22,000 some odd dollars.
20,
It's 89 times
Okay.
250.
So you'd throw 50% of the balance
Yeah.
at collecting it.
no, it's tacked on to
Right, but you gotta advance it, right?
advance
Yeah.
it, but it's tacked on to the absolute collection of it.
Right.
Now, would we take the $250 and charge it back to the person?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, well, I say absolutely, that's how property taxes are.
Yeah.
And you get a chance before when that DTSI process starts, you're responsible for that extra
Mhm.
$250.
Okay.
I'm assuming the county would send out a letter in advance saying, hey, if this isn't paid by X date, it will be turned over and you will, it will be another initial $250 charge for.
How much was each FIFA?
It was
$12.
$12. And that's already added into your total on this cost sheet.
That's added
That's added to it.
to the balance.
Added the
I think if
$12.
I pays $7 to have it recorded and $5 to have it released, and they do it, they go ahead and get the $12 up front.
And that lasts how many years?
7,
7.
and then you can review it,
For another 12.
whatever the fees are. I think it's a little bit less, but
So the only way to collect in the FIFA is if these properties sell or transfer during that time.
Not unless DTSI wants to try to collect themselves. I don't know how that works for DTSI.
The FIFA process, I'm saying.
The
that
FIFA, yeah,
We FIFA, the only hope of collecting is within the 7-year term, or if we renew, if they sell the property or it transfers.
yes. If they do a title search.
Unless they, or I reckon if they pledge the property for a loan or something, no, there's that.
plays it for a loan, the bank is not gonna do it unless it's cleared, because they don't wanna be behind the tax line. But that opens up another question, is you can insure around a lien with title insurance. You know, if it's an old lien, like 7 years, you haven't reviewed it, or there's a question about it, or even if there's not a question about it, you can insure around it and get around it. Not many lawyers want to do that because they could get caught, not caught, end up having to pay it, but there is sort of a dodge. How much, if I may inquire, what are the average, or are these like in lumps? Are these like in categories of like somebody owes 500, someone owes 1,000?
Yeah, we went from, Steve and I discussed
You got
it.
that list right there in front of you.
Steve and I
It's got a dollar
discussed
amounts out there.
it. We started
Oh,
at
okay.
200 and something dollars and went all the way through the big amount.
And one last question, I mean, what does the double asterisk after the name mean?
Oh, yeah, that was my question. I want to know.
That means that, well, this is something that was clear before I came along. That means they had a 5A before, or they had a consent form before. That's just little asterisk dots that's.
It
there
really
for
doesn't
us
mean
for
anything nowadays.
Yeah, it don't mean anything.
In the earlier days, in the earlier days, the county, before they FIFA, they would file a claim in magistrate court against someone.
Yes, and that's what they were.
And some of that denotes that had a magistrate court at one time.
My opinion was, why would we have done the 5 phase if we weren't willing to collect the money? I know we cut out there was a lot that were the 30-something dollars that I think they all got confused on paying one and not paying the other, and that in the
Oh, that's-
transition period. I thought we set the boundary of what we were willing to go collect. I don't see how we let these get away with not paying $18, even at 230. I mean, that's how many years? That's 3 years of service.
Well, $230 at $19 would probably be a whole year.
Yeah,
Close
a
to a
year,
whole
a
year.
year of service. I don't see how we made some pay, but we're not gonna make others pay.
Well, you can lead the horse to the water, but you can't make him drink it. That's all I gotta tell you. And these people have been contacted.
But you can take the stable away from them over there. on
Oh,
the
yeah,
steps
but that's
and
where the 5A came in.
Yeah, yeah.
Now,
I mean, you
we
give
got
them a
the 5A,
chance,
now
but,
we're
and I think a
paying.
letter should go out like we do in property taxes of, if you don't pay by this date, you know that your $230 balance is gonna get hit with a $250 thing. So even if you pay the day before the sale, which is allowed, or the morning of a sale, you still owe that extra $250. So
And like I said, that's been several months. I've talked to the guy at DTSI, Justin. That price may have changed from $250 to something different. So I may have to call and get an updated price on that. And whatever extra fees he will charge to come down here to do the house sale. Me and him just briefly talked about how much per unit would it be. And that was back in June of last year. So it may be a little more than $250. So
maybe coordinate it with the property tax sale, if you could.
I've been doing that with Paula for the last couple of years,
Doing what?
coordinating with the taxes. If she had somebody on her list that owed taxes,
But we've never done a sale for this.
no,
Well,
this is
the
new.
county has done, I think we have done 2 sales in the past. I think that's the only time but we have done a sale. Never this many parcels at one time, but we have done a sale. If you're, in that list you're looking at, in that far right-hand column, our billing system divided customers up into billing groups. Because initially, we just billed for the unincorporated areas. And then as the cities came on, we created a separate billing group for each city, so you can tell. That's what that denotes. If it says county residential, that means they live in the unincorporated area of the county. And actually, if it says Vine or Unadilla, that means they live in the city, in that particular city. Because initially, like Vine did the billing for their residents. Unadilla did the billing, they just added it to the water bill. But somewhere down the road, one of them said, hey, we're gonna quit doing the billing, y'all, the county just gonna need to do the billing for the garbage service, and eventually, basically all of them did that. Except I think Pinehurst is still doing the billing,
Yes.
doing their billing, so Waste Management bills the city of Pinehurst for the residents of Pinehurst, and then the city of Pinehurst is billing their residents through the water billing system.
Does that happen in environment?
I think it is in Byronville also.
There's none of them on this.
I think Pinehurst and Byronville are the only cities that are still doing the billing.
Yes, sir.
Um,
Byronville, about the money.
No, sir, I'm not. I had a thought on here because I knew one name, so I've sent that individual a screenshot. And there'll be a $250 surcharge added. I encourage anyone else that might know some people to do that. Also, I got to thinking about that individual, and I don't know that to be the case, but then I saw another name on here. Brings this up. What are we going to do if someone we do business with owes us money? And what if it's somebody who's an employee and gets a paycheck that owes us money?
That in a property sale,
I know, but they owe us money now. I'm just asking from a policy standpoint, if somebody owes us money, we need to be, and we're going to be paying them, they need to be paying us. Those are two separate things, but typically, you've got an employee on here, I think,
Michael.
owes you $750.
I had a question for you, Chairman. My question is, does you follow the same rules, like got a year and a day? And to get the property, do we know that? Does that need researching? Ms. Lynn,
If you purchase the house,
At a
at the
tax
courthouse,
sale.
I think that's right. I think you
Year
have
and
to
a day
wait till a
still?
year and a day.
still the same rules?
That'll be a lawyer, I know.
Don't you have to wait a year and a day before you take possession of the property if you buy it at a tax sale?
You take possession of it, but you don't actually have ownership of it until you then file a quiet, theoretically, until you file a quiet title action.
So that means that within that year and a day, if that person decides they want to go back and get it, they can go back and get it.
they can pay whatever is paid for at the steps plus the percentage,
Their right of redemption.
plus the interest. A year and a day, you close the right of redemption.
The same rules apply to
Same as any other
It's
tax.
not a foreclosure. Foreclosure is, I'm pretty sure this.
Probably the same rules.
I'd like to make sure of that, but that would be what I was.
What do y'all want to do?
Is that what they do?
It looks to me like you got two choices, leave it like it is, just leave the 5-page recording and hope that collects it. Or if you want to turn it over to VTSI for collection and potential sale at courthouse steps.
I don't want to do that.
I'll make a motion. I was just waiting for if anybody else. Have a discussion.
We'll get that as the motion.
I make a motion that we move forward with the DTSI sale process of collections with a letter being sent out, giving them at least 60 days notice of this
I think-
$250 that will happen. I want at least 60, I don't know what the standard is, but give them 60 days before DTSI starts the process to know exactly what there is going to be.
I think once you turn these over to DTSI, DTSI sends a letter out.
But I want to make sure that their letter, before the money kicks in, we send the first letter, saying that once it's turned over to DTSI, there is no turning back of the $250.
Okay.
I want to give them 60 days to come clean this up before the,
You're gonna do a separate vote? You're gonna do it, just go ahead and do it, and then you're gonna send the letter and then go right through it, or you're gonna go back?
I'm starting the process with the caveat that we have to give them ourselves 60 days to come in and pay, knowing what's going to happen.
Okay, so we need to clear the clarity between you and the name about the motion. Because I know we had a discussion before the motion got started. Let me ask you to start talking. So
I make a motion that we move forward with the sale process, but with the county sending out one final round of letters, giving them 60 days, letting them know that once we turn it over to DTSI, this $250 or whatever the fee is going to be added to it.
I know, can I ask one more question before we set the vote? Before
Okay.
Now, I thought last time we said, that we're gonna go ahead and do the DTSI for the ones that owe 500 or more. So now we're gonna go do DTSI on everybody on this list.
Or we cut everybody under, we threw out everything under 50.
Oh, okay. That is what we said.
And we FIFA'd everybody over 200.
And I thought we were gonna DTSI.
There was a discussion about that, but that was not in the,
That wasn't in the final.
that wasn't the final approval. All they got approved last time was paying over $200 balance. That was all.
So we still sticking with that, everybody on this list, not the one go.
Yeah, I didn't want to pick, I hadn't looked at the names. I didn't
Oh, I
want
ain't
to,
looking at.
I didn't want to look at anybody. I mean,
I'm talking about the price here over here.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go with the ones that owe 232, that's gonna be, and then when will the 6 months start, whenever the letter go out, this week, next week? They start next week.
60 days.
Start next week.
And also I can call and update the DTSI charge. Make sure it's still at the $250 per person mark. Make sure it's not like $300 or $350 if they went up. And whatever the charge, what other charges that will be charged for him to come to the courthouse to sell. I don't know if there's a charge there. I mean, I need to find out the
I would give
details.
Paula too, but all they're added is less than 250 now. It was last year.
Okay.
It's a less than $250 charge.
I got a question. When the FIFA is done, do you know that they own this property?
Well, basically, when the letter
I
was,
see some folks on here that I'm not so
Mhm.
sure.
was as of 10/28/25, I went through every Q Public thing and made sure everybody.
Okay, that's what I was
Yes.
asking, because I can't see giving this company, fronting them this kind of money when we know it's not gonna work from a property sales standpoint.
But I had to go through, there's several on here was tenants. And I had to find out who the owner of the property was, and I had to kind of go through there and take care of who owned what.
Oh, so that's this other name over here?
Yeah, well, the bill
If you see a
attention is the
different
property
name,
owner.
okay.
And that's who I send other letters to, is whoever's the bill attention.
Okay.
I don't send it to the name over there to the left-hand side because it's either a renter or they swap properties or they're just living in the house. Grandma gave them the house or grandma still owns the house and they live in the house. And that's who the trash billing was, name was in.
I know, I mean,
That's what I mean.
yeah, I'm thinking about all this, but, I'm just,
That was as of November.
10/28 is when I did my final collection list. That's when Steve and I agreed to $200 and up.
to me, it seems like it's a lot of so looped in on this thing right here. There's a lot of discussion before we even got upset. And, it was like it's not concrete.
I'm just for, I thought we had said earlier, for the ones that owe so much, not the ones that owe 230. But, I mean, if you make a
There's a
motion,
motion on the floor.
Is there,
Is there a second
Okay, I
to
second.
continue discussion?
he's
I'm gonna
seconded.
second.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right, I see exactly what I'm saying. We don't get all. Cause it don't mean just because you motion in second, that don't mean it gotta pass.
Right.
right.
Now the floor is open for discussion on the motion.
That's right. So, okay, there's a motion in second. Steve gave the version that needed to be given to everybody, all the other commissioners that sit around the table. So now, open it up and let's,
So it's gonna be everybody on the list, everybody on the list.
That's the way the current motion is, yes.
Everybody on the, let's be clear, everybody on the list is gonna get a 60-day notice under the motion.
Mhm.
And at the end of 60 days,
If they
if they
haven't,
haven't paid or haven't made
it's
arrangements.
gonna
to pay,
automatically get turned over to
Then
DTSI.
you'll go to the 250 or whatever the amount is. Is that right?
So how much is a certified letter?
$10.
$10.
$10.
$11.
So we'll add that back to them too. And to make sure, and then if a letter come back not signed for, how we follow up on that?
What?
If the letter, come back, nobody signed to get the letter at the post office,
So what you do,
certified letter.
What?
Then what will we do then?
what you do is you send a regular
Add a
letter
certified?
at the same time. And if they don't sign for it, then there's an argument that's presumed that they had it, because you keep the card where the attempts were. And there's some case law that says they just refused it because the other one did not come back in the regular course of things. It
So
doesn't,
it's
it's, right, you're gonna send regular and certified, and then that way it's clear, because they're gonna dodge, if they owe bills, they're gonna dodge the certified letter. And so if they get the notice of the other and it doesn't come back, then there's a presumption since they're in the wrong. Plus, they've already been given notice about this from the county previously. Presumably when you filed the FIFA, and presumably whenever you sent collections. They already know what to do.
And the people that's on here that dead, y'all saying something was dead on here. So their family will get the letter and they'll be responsible for.
Their estate will be responsible
That's
for it.
the
And if they ever want to transfer that property, they'll have to clear it up or it gets sold. But that's going, if it's how many, estates are kind of there's probably not but a handful of those on here. I don't know.
just what you said about the rentals now. I'm just curious.
The renter, I didn't say anything. She said about tenants, but I'll clarify because it's come up before. My previous understanding is that it's the property owner's responsibility,
Yes.
and it's a non-delegable duty. They can say it belongs to them, but I remember specifically an instance with Mr. Joyner coming in here about a tenant out there that became the All Pro. He was rather hot about it. Had some really not so nice things to say but he paid it.
And we bill to the bill attention, not to the tenant. But whenever we print the letter out, the tenant's name or whoever in the left-hand column is on there. That way they can say, if they have 15 properties, they can say, hey, that guy don't live there anymore. Well, it's still your property. You own the property, so you got to be responsible for the payment. And yes, I did get a bunch of certified letters that came back. I keep them clipped to the letter when I do send it out, the letter that I send out to them. I mean, I've had several people in the past that had certified letters that walked in my office and was outraged and saying, I'm not paying that. I didn't sign that letter out. And I go over to my little book. I said, hold tight. To my little book and I pull it out and sure enough, there's her signature. And I said, well, you signed it. Is this your signature? Yeah, but I'm not paying this. And they walk out. And then you never hear from them again. It's like pulling teeth sometimes to collect money.
And the letter gonna say that 60 days it will be turned over to BTSI, and there will be an additional annual, and it will be sold at the courthouse. Can the letter say all of that?
Yeah.
Okay,
Letters don't say.
We need to know what BTSI.
yeah.
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 What it
The
means.
ordinance going to the court system.
Right. And you said it does not include, Byronville and Pinehurst. Yeah, what I'm looking at, I don't see any.
Because they don't owe us any money. Now, there may be some folks that owe, but there may be some folks in Byronville that owe the city of Byronville some money, but they don't owe us no money. And the same thing with City of Pinehurst.
We ought to have a limit on how much money we gotta spend to go after this. Before you know it, it'll be just as much as we got owed. You gotta spend some money to get it, but
Now, on that, you get all, whatever you put up 22,000, you get all that back. You get 22,000 back plus the 44,000 back.
So actually, the customer,
yeah, it's
they
something.
end up paying it all.
If they pay it
We just
off,
put the
or
upfront money.
if they pay it off, or if you go to the courthouse, whoever buys it is paying it off. It's a,
Actually, after the 60 days, you actually have another 30 days, though, because once people start the process,
You probably have more, you're gonna have more than 30 days after that.
yeah, the sale won't
plus,
start
yeah,
until,
plus the fee, and you can walk in the morning of and
Yeah.
pay your.
so actually you got more than 60 days.
Okay. Seems like to me we got some experts around the table that know about this kind of stuff. I'm not, this new territory for me.
Mr. Chairman, you might want to call for the vote. I think there's been plenty of discussion on this.
Okay. All in favor by the show of hands? You got it? You got it? 3. Okay. I guess all.
Any opposed?
Right, all opposed. That's kind of.
Okay, I have a question. When do you want the letter to be dated as? Now, we're already in what, the 5th of February. Do you want me to date it?
Get the letter drafted and get with me.
Okay, we'll do that. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank y'all. Appreciate it. Have any questions, let me know, please. Y'all have a good one.
Scotty,
Same.
come on up. Scotty Mashburn. Yeah, he slipped in. But we had an EDC meeting scheduled for next Thursday at 11:30. It was going to be an actual official EDC board meeting, a lunch, and then the lady from the University of Georgia with the branding project was going to come down and give an update at the same time. Unfortunately, due to family issues, she's not going to be able to come next Thursday. So Scotty was asking, do we want to try to reschedule everything? I suggested let's go ahead and have the EDC meeting next Thursday. And then whenever the branding project gets rescheduled, let's just reschedule. But that's, want to know what y'all what y'all's thoughts was.
I will say that she was wanting to try to reschedule for her part toward the very end of February, early March. So it won't be long until we get to her meeting also.
I'm fine with your suggestion. Keep it.
You listening? Change the keep
I don't have a problem. No, I'm fine with it.
We'll just have EDC meet next Thursday.
That's fine. And and when I talked to Glenn, you said earlier that the Monday meeting was at the Business Development Center. When I talked to Glenn, we discussed having it at the EDC building.
Okay, I was unclear on that. Okay, so.
We can have it at either,
No,
but, we kind of left it at the EDC.
the EDC meeting in your
In the industrial.
industrial room. Okay, so you'll have it Monday evening will be out at Scotty's building, not in Business Development Center building. And I'll try to send y'all a text to remind y'all.
Okay. But eating was still on, I know Tony won't.
Yeah, that's why I'll make sure.
Next Thursday, there's still gonna be a meal next Thursday.
Yes.
Don't put it off. 'Cause that's too good.
I'll get another one.
Are we still good with the meeting at 11:30? Okay. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Good with me?
Now, you plan to be there Monday, you're planning to be there Monday
Yes,
evening,
sir.
because as I understand, House of Raper's gonna have some representatives there as well. Okay, good deal.
I will be there.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Thank you.
Thanks, Scotty. Item number 11, the General Assembly there seems to be a strong effort amongst the General Assembly to pass legislation. They're calling it property tax reform. One of the major areas they're concentrating on is to eliminate property taxes on homesteaded property, which means my house, I claim homestead. I own my house and I live in it, so I'm eligible for homestead exemption. Right now, that just gives me a very small break on property tax. If state legislature gets the way their wishes, I will not have to pay any property taxes on my house.
Not just state property tax.
Hmm?
Not just state property tax.
Not just county, but also city or school.
Right. And that sounds great for the property payers. But the flip side of that, how are counties, cities, and schools going to offset the loss of that revenue? But anyway. Well, yeah, one idea that they're throwing out is, well, you can levy a sales tax. Well, that's great in counties that have lots of retail business that would wind up getting a surplus. But for those of us in rural Georgia, it's not gonna.
Do you have that Excel sheet that they sent out in that link? ACCG, and they're saying that Dooley would only need a 1.11% sales tax increase to offset it. But before they come up with that number, they're saying we're going to take all of our SPLOST money and our loss money and put it towards the loss. That's the calculation the state are sent out of. So yeah, we only have to raise the sales tax of 1.2, and anything we currently spend, lost or lost on, gets absorbed by the. Yeah, I mean you suck up all the.
How much does 1 penny on loss get us in a year? Mr. Sanders?
Oh,
Okay.
I can only do one thing at a time. I'm sorry. I think I sent that email out to the county commissioners, didn't I?
I got it from ACCG on January 28th.
Okay, let's do this one. Let's go this way. Who sent it out from ACCD? Do you have that?
Schuler,
Schuler. is-
Schuler, Schouler,
SCD.
Harding.
Harding, yep. That's no.
Here, what email are you in?
My county email.
Steven.
I think I forwarded that to y'all also. I can't remember.
What's your county email? S.
S.C. Sanders. Or send it to my Gmail, it don't matter.
I just
Which one you send it to?
county.
Okay. It'll take it a second.
But we're so close.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
while we waiting on that, has anybody heard about the, fire department? The prison fire department gonna get slashed and then
It's gone.
is it gone?
I don't think we're.
They voted on that?
Huh?
They voted on it?
No, I don't think they filled the position in a while. I don't think they've had anybody out there.
But they say it's gonna make insurance prices go up again.
In Unadilla, because Unadilla
We
gets
get
to claim them, since they're in the city limits,
Yeah.
they get to claim that as a station.
You know, it goes up, insurance rate.
Yeah, but that department has always helped every Fireville to
Everywhere.
outlet, Drayton, they've helped every, so yeah, we should, whoever we could call to lobby to
Mhm.
fill it. But
Yeah.
Okay, this is a spreadsheet that the ACCG sent out earlier. Local sales tax needed to eliminate homestead property tax for all local governments. Now, this just says counties and cities. I
That's
don't,
not the school, you said there's another, tab left. You
okay, okay.
see that tab?
All right, so just for, in Dooley County, all right, so you gotta, unfortunately, I can't get it to. Yeah, I can't freeze it. Yeah, I can. Freeze it, this, okay. So now I can go down and grab Dooley. Look that down one more time. Oops. All right, Dooley County. Our population 11,000. According to their ACCG, they gathered this through the tax commissioner's software. So this could be subject to a little bit of variances, but they're saying whatever year they did this, we Dooley County and I reckon Unadilla, Diana, and Byronville. So those are the only three cities that levy property taxes. We collected a total of $7 million of property tax on everything. And they're saying, far as property taxes on homesteaded property, we collected $1.7 million. In 2024, SPLOST, the 1% SPLOST for Dooley County, generated $1.5 million, which you are $177,000 short of funding the loss of revenue if you eliminate homesteaded property. So they're saying we would need 1.11% sales tax to break even.
After you move all your SPOS, which I guess they're gonna change the SPOS rules to allow us to use it to offset the so you gotta use all your SPOS revenue.
That's not the way I understand it.
They're taking your homestead money that we get taxes,
$1.7 million.
they're minusing our.
No,
SPOS.
no, they're just, to me, they're comparing what a 1% would generate. That, to me, that's what that column is showing is what 1% generated in 24. They're gonna give you the option, they're gonna give you the ability to levy another 1 cent sales tax. Oh, there's so many proposals going around, ACCG saying, don't get too tied up in the details right now. Cause this is changing
Okay, I was reading.
daily. But that doesn't take care of the school.
I thought 1% generated 177,000.
No,
1.1% would generate.
$1.5 million.
Now who's gonna pay all that now?
But see, they hadn't worked out all those details. Yeah. Wait, keep in mind, this is an election year for our state representatives and our state senators. What voters not gonna vote, this would have to be put before the voters of the state. It had to be an amendment to the Constitution to do this. And what voter is gonna not vote against not having to pay property taxes on their home?
By the time this comes up for referendum, all the people pushing it, the election will be over.
Yeah.
So you vote for it this year.
8%.
But-
Ours is 8 now.
8
But-
now, so 10%.
I'm saying, when we present that to the people in the community, what gonna?
Like I said, the people that own property don't say, yeah, go for it, but the people that's
And
buying
already getting our
groceries,
penny comes
Yeah.
rounding up.
people that buying groceries and stuff, they don't know.
Hello? And it's more than a penny in most instances when they round up.
For the
Yeah.
school
It'll
system,
be
I
10.
didn't look at this.
all right, for the school system,
That 8%.
all right, for the school system in Dooley, they get almost $5.8 million of property taxes. I don't know what that means.
Why is theirs double?
I said, I don't understand all that. Okay, I'm sorry, I can't. They said, don't get too caught up in all this, but just be aware that there's a major push in the Georgia General Assembly to do something along this line. And yes, and this ain't gonna affect the state's revenue one iota, so yeah, they got no problem with us
Yeah.
cutting us out of some revenue.
I guess on that Dublin, the only thing I can think is they're playing fast and loose with the fact there's an eSPLOST and a SPLOST. They don't spell it out there.
It's good, you in the SPOS.
I know.
Do they have two special,
I think so.
is there a match from the feds?
Or didn't there, okay, this sales tax in Dooley County is 8%. There's a 4% statewide state sales tax.
There's
Then
laws.
we have a local option sales tax. Then the county has a SPLOST. We have a T-SPLOST, and the education has a SPLOST. Anyway, may they just be, now ACCG, I'm assuming all y'all are getting the emails from ACCG on updates. Okay,
Steve,
yes, sir.
we got anybody around to go over, that's up for reelection?
No, sir. We just have 2 seats available. They happen to be located
I
right
don't
over
want to, I don't
there.
know what them two right there. They're gonna want to push it.
I thought about that, about the transmission too, okay.
Well, that's why he abstained. He started reading the list.
Okay, moving along. Okay. We've taken care of all items that were on our agenda. Now, Bert, you had an item.
Added to the list.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
I was contacted this week by John Scherer, who represents Dusty Charlton Greer and Sarah Elizabeth Greer, the trustees of the Greer Family Living Trust. They purchased a piece of property they purchased a piece of property from a gentleman who had purchased it at a tax sale. And it's adjacent, it's in the 3rd district, and it kind of borders on Ben Harris's property. And,
Do we know the parcel number?
yes. Maybe.
I can find it on the map if we have to. I might as well start looking at the map.
I have he sent me a plat, but the plat's not very good. You want me to email that to you?
Oh, let's see, we'll find it in column 215.
Okay. While you're looking.
Ends on 27.
Yeah. Okay, Benjamin Zach Harris is one of the north landowner. The south landowner is Jacob Enoch Rollins, and the Board of Commissioners of Dooley County. East is the Board of Commissioners of Dooley County. West is Wayman McAtee and the Board of Commissioners of Dooley County. Okay, so that tell you where it is.
I know.
I know we're being there. I knew you
Yeah,
got
Ben, I think it's just a tract of land they must own. Wayman McAtee, that's out in, what's that subdivision?
I didn't go subdivision.
Corner of 27 and 3rd District Road.
as often as I can be right this minute.
That's where the paint shop is.
Yes.
Okay. Basically,
27.
I guess we have
Oh,
some,
there it is.
do we have like a road or something that abuts it?
That looks more better there.
There's a road that runs through that subdivision. There's a dirt road behind it.
We're being asked to, the Board of Commissioners is being notified of it because we have public property that it abuts the property. We're affected. And it's not much. I assume it's a road or right of way. And
Too far out.
basically, he's asking us to acknowledge service that he's
Take a
moving.
Go to North 3rd District Road.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not looking for Ben's house.
Oh, I thought we was looking for being there.
No, yeah, he's just saying Ben, but Wayman McAtee lives in that,
In that subdivision, okay.
right there, off of
Yeah.
that Meadow Ridge
Right there, back up there with the 97,
20.
21E, right through there is where it is.
This,
No, down,
one of them.
over to 3rd District Road, right through there. That's what he's showing on the plat, is that area right there.
Career Family
Right.
Living Trust, okay.
So I suppose 3rd District Road and maybe the little corner of Meadow Ridge Road is what our property is, from what they're saying.
Okay, all right.
All right, so we just need to acknowledge that they filed this. They've asked us to consent to their action for quiet title. And do we have any objection? And my response is no, we don't really care what they do. We've already had a tax sale on it, so we've already gone through another part of our government has done that. So we don't have an interest in what affects our road here because it's just a matter of who's.
So what are we voting on?
We're voting to accept service and to consent to them moving forward to quiet the title.
Can you send Burnett, can you send Linda an email to sort of word the motion?
Absolutely. So
Somebody willing to make that motion Bert just said?
All right, the motion is,
I think in layman's terms, that parcel got sold at courthouse sale for tax.
and then they,
You missed it.
I missed
You
it.
missed it.
Okay, that was
it got sold, and then the person who bought it
Resold it.
redeemed it or whatever, and then resold it, but they didn't go through the quiet title process, and now these people want to do something with it, and in order to do that, they've got to have title insurance. In order to get title insurance, they've got to have a quiet title action.
Now, that makes sense, right there. All that other stuff was like Chinese pies.
4 acres.
I understand what you just said.
And all that we're involved in is just that rare where it touches this road and touches that road.
I second the motion.
Okay. The motion is set. Do we have further discussion? If not, all in favor by the show of hands. Okay, that motion carries.
If it fails to let you know the motion, you punch him up about the motion.
Okay, who did that?
Yeah, that was all tough, yeah.
Okay, so, okay, and then second, okay.
Hey, Mr. Chairman, I believe you had two items you wanted to add to the agenda.
Okay, but first of all, it's just some general things, that I wanted to discuss. First of all, I know we talked about the voting district. Is it possible, and I'm just asking the question because I don't know. I know the line that we said got moved, it went through that creek, instead of what's that man name, Eugene, that we thought the line, the dirt road up there, where?
Coley Cross.
Coley Cross.
In the dirt road.
We can't ask that to be amended and change it back from. We can't.
Well, y'all can change the districts anytime y'all want to change them.
It's a process.
But it's a process. You gotta get the state reinforcement office involved. You gotta, now I'm assuming we're still under the same requirements from the unofficial requirements from the Justice Department. Well, because at one time, as I recall, the meeting I sat in on, they said, we're not here to tell you how to draw your maps. But you gotta have 5 districts. They all gotta have roughly the same number of people. 2's gotta be predominantly black, 2's gotta be predominantly white, 1's gotta be 50-50. But we are not here to tell you how you gotta draw your maps.
Well, two things. One, when that was said 10 years ago, you had to get pre-clearance. That's what I was nodding my head on.
Okay.
You had to get pre-clearance from the Justice Department to do anything with, even if you were annexing in one house that would affect the number of voters in a district. We had a Supreme Court decision, I don't know, 10, 15, probably 15 years ago in that range, that said that did not matter anymore, and that's when they gutted the Voting Rights Act. That provision of pre-clearance of the Voting Rights Act.
Okay.
And so everyone thinks it eventually will come back at some level, and that's a political discussion for another day. But in view of that, people don't want to get too far afield of it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so it's best practice to follow the guidance that they had, because there still is a provision for one person, one vote. Under the Gray v. Sanders decision from the U.S. Supreme Court back in the 60s from a Georgia case. And under the Gray v. Sanders, one person, one vote, that's where you've got to have equal number of people in the districts, or else, even without the Justice Department looking at it, they're not going to allow it. And they've got to somewhat represent the racial composition, where there's much that if you have 40% Hispanic and 20% Caucasian and 40% African American, then there needs to be, and you got 5 districts, you need to kind of have that reflected in some way that doesn't make it where it's all Hispanic or all African American or all white. And so you've got to balance it. So you use common sense. The way that came down in Dooley County, because we're really more Caucasian and African American, and a very small percentage of Hispanic voters registered and other, that it came out that where there were clearly two districts that were majority African American, 2 districts that were majority Caucasian, and then one that was sort of a flip district, the way I understand it. Is that a fair representation of it? So the question you have, though, is you're talking about specifically what was
Just that little target, just that little area. You're not about talking about redoing the whole district.
okay, you're talking about the little piece over here in Zion.
Yes, that's all. Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean,
No,
that's
something
how
else.
that.
He's out 41
It's
between
a 41.
Eugene,
Oh, we're back up to the
north
school
of
district.
Dexter.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
Just that little small section there, and I think that to me, the state got it wrong, because we was all unaware of what was, the line had been changed, you know, and I'm like, oh, and I know, now this is my third one, I never known Steve been here longer than I have. I mean, a district that go down a creek, it always been on a road, you know, that what we always went by, you know,
So you would be in favor of putting him back in the district he was in?
yeah, right, just moving it down, just, it just, I mean, it's not that far. I mean, it could have been, the AI coming, computer thing could have just
Right.
had a glitch in it and just shot it the wrong way.
Yeah, when I came on, it was Cody Crossing.
Yeah.
But I've been through two census,
Right.
10-year census. And it got changed. Of course, I didn't catch it because I haven't, I've been reelected, but I haven't been opposed to where I've really been out there knocking the doors, you know, and actually ordering a new voters list from the state, which is the best advice I could give somebody that's gonna run for office in any county. Get your voters list, you know, instead of relying on streets and stuff. Get your voters list, and then you got what you need, and you know who your eligible voters are.
But they got to know how to read it though.
I missed it, you know.
They just got to know how to, I've been doing with that.
Well, let's talk practicalities.
Well, I can't see making a drastic change like that.
Well, we would have to go through the,
Well, the procedure's gonna be the same, whether we're doing a drastic change or just a small change. Or is going through the reapportionment office, and it requires special legislation
right.
get approved by the General Assembly, so I don't know if there's enough time.
My point is, if we get the special legislation, if we were ready to vote today, which I don't,
Which we're not.
No, I'm just asking a question.
right, let me get the time frame out in my mind, so I understand it, and you correct me. But you've got a deadline for local legislation to be submitted, and it's coming up this month usually, because they've got to get it in there to get it through the hopper, to get it where they get crossover and all that. So I think usually you have it submitted before the beginning of the year. You have it request, so they know what to be doing. And then you got to get both your senator and your representative on board with it so they can support it. And they need to know there's uniformity from the local body in order to move forward. Because one side might move forward, but you're not gonna get support from both the Senate and the House if it's not unanimous, is what I have been told previously. So assume it's unanimous, you move forward, you've got to get it on the deadline. Even if they pass it, okay, even if your people support it, then the legislature has to agree to it. And I've only seen it shot down once or twice, but if they play games sometimes with your local representatives and they won't shoot their bill. So like one time we had to go the Senate route versus the House route because of Republican versus Democrat to get what we needed for local, even though it wasn't a political thing. And the political had nothing to do with what we were asking for. So you got to take those considerations into place, and then the effective date of it. Typically, things like that become effective, either they can become effective the first of the year, July 1st, or effective immediately upon the governor signing it. What dictates that, though, determines other things such as these election laws. I mean, if there were an election coming up in, say, the school board or the county commission where those two districts would be affected, when is the qualifying and whatever the qualifying is going to be what sets it. And I have a feeling that the qualifying is going to probably be before July 1, but I don't know.
March.
It's in March.
So it won't be this year.
It's not gonna be this year because
It could be corrected for the future.
if we were all in agreement that we wanted to do it, the way we have done it in the past, we would get Mariana with the River Valley Regional Commission to come over here, and we would agree where we're gonna move the line, because she can move the lines and give us the data, how many folks are affected. she could then we could reach an agreement. Then we would, if y'all voted to approve that, and we would submit it to the reapportionment office. They would enter it into their GIS system to generate the official maps that would be used for the General Assembly Legal Counsel to prepare the proposed legislation. So it's not gonna happen this year.
I know, I'm just saying, you know, they're going back and trying to correct it.
But the process would be, as I understand, the process would basically say, if you just were moving one small area, or if you were redistricting the whole county, the process is gonna be the same. It's not gonna be a shorter process just to do a small section as opposed to the whole county.
Yeah. That ain't-
They had my school board meeting on the same thing tomorrow.
Well, I didn't know they were having them. I'm just talking about my own personal opinion. But,
In effect, how many votes we got left?
I don't
It's
remember.
only the right-hand side of the road, so it would be everything. Three.
Three houses, 1, 2, he died, 3, he died, 4 votes.
But the issue is the creek. Versus.
We have there's other areas in the county that the district boundaries are, or there have been times. The state prefers boundaries to be physical, something physical like a road or a creek, because a road's not gonna be moved and a creek's not gonna be moved. Yeah, so we have used creeks in the past, so that's not unusual.
But yeah, we might have, but I never did. I don't think I ever know. You know, like I said, I can go back to the first time we went through it. You know, we always been tearing all the rest of them. We went by roads and all that kind of stuff. Picked up division lines and how far, you know, this will go or whatever, you know, and that's what we agreed on sitting in. But until this right here came up, I thought it was pretty near the same way. You know, it slipped me too. Now, not pretty, I knew everybody district by all. But that's why I was complaining, you know, I can't complain about it, but just one, you know, could we go back to that? You know, that was my only comeback on it. Okay.
Anything else?
Not on that. Okay, now, the other thing is, okay, when, and for the most part, we, you know, and I'm talking about the district, I know we got five of us around the table. And when the issue comes up, just like you said earlier about Eugene having something down about some road a minute ago, okay, we get in contact with that particular commissioner that represents that district. Well, here lately, you know, there have been things that have popped up that I was unaware of, and, you know, we making moves around the table, and I didn't know about it. And then when we get here, then I know about it. If something come up in David district, if a person call me that lives in that district, the first thing I'm gonna do is say, you call David, that's your representative. You call him. Don't ask me about making no kind of recommendation, because it always been a commissioner respect, a general respect around that board. That, you know, we always, you know, first priority always go to the person that represents that district. Then we just, you know, we come back and we discuss it or whatever. And I didn't think that right there being, you know, we sort of done overshadowed that, you know, here lately. And, you know, I don't think that's the way. Then you come to me about it, then you come to me about it, then I'm gonna be pissed off because you didn't come to me in the beginning. I don't want to hear it. I mean, you know, it's just point blank, it's just respect. Because see, if Eugene called me in a minute and said, David, you know, you got somebody, if they thought it was me, my district, but it's your district. He called me up and told me and said, well, then he would call them and he would call me also. You know, then we tried to address the issue. But we all have worked together real good around this table since I've been in. This is my 20th year. So, you know, it never been a true issue. You know, but now don't come up and bring things, you know, to me, because see, I'm a fair-minded person. Ain't no I in team, you know, and I try to work with everybody, you know, and that's you know, that's what I wanted to address on that. And I sort of had one more. And then I know I have two, but the other ones, you know, and we did a pretty good job in the meeting that we had with the state representative with Patty. You know, it sort of got to me, and for the most part around the table, you know, if you elect somebody to operate the meeting, that's, I mean, you address them when you get ready to say or do something. It's just at point blank instant. You know, when I was sitting on the sideline, and I don't care nothing about this seat. If I'm sitting on the sideline, if I got something I want to say, I'm gonna address the chairman and say, that's to keep down confusion. And you know, just conduct the meeting like it's supposed to be conducted. But now when you start this saying and doing things, and the first thing that somebody brought to my attention was, who? Y'all ain't got nobody to go operate the meeting, a chairman or whatever, because people that talk out and say what they want when they get ready. And you know, normally I don't complain about stuff like that. But you know, when you got people out there that's looking at, you know, they wonder, well, where's the structure? Y'all must don't have no Robert Rules of Order. And so, you know, I just wanted to address the issue. And I brag on this board right now. We got a good board. All the time we don't agree on issues, but that's all right. That's what it's all about. We can agree to disagree. But you know, we gotta respect one another. That's all I ever said to anybody. Just, you respect me, I'm gonna respect you. Now you can't come one way now, because I'm coming back same way you come. You know, and so that's just the way, you know, it is. So, you know, I just wanted to just air that out. And so we can continue to do what we've been doing in the past, and we work together. You know, that just point right. Those are the things I had, Steve.
Well, that's all I got, Mr. Chairman.
I'll make a comment. In the future, would it be better if, instead of us having just a special call meeting for somebody like Miss Bentley, when she comes in here, I mean, we didn't have a clue what was gonna take place. I'd rather see it be more like a town hall, because we had all these other folks out here in the audience, you know, and, we ran it as a meeting, but we didn't put all the public on notice. You, I mean, can our public put on notice when we have set meetings?
Yeah,
To some extent.
well, we notified the newspaper and it was on our previous agenda, so.
We notified, my understanding is, and Steve, I think Bruce says, it was a public meeting because it was gonna be more than 3 of you, or it was gonna be 3 or more of you. So it was put on as a public meeting. And that was one, I think, Steve and I talked about this, I think that was what we talked about on the election side of it, is we weren't gonna have a special meeting on the election board side of it unless it was, you know, a public meeting, because initially it came to us as a request just to meet with us alone.
Well, that's what I'm
Right.
getting to. That's
And
what
it was
put
even gonna be a
to us.
Zoom meeting.
Uh-huh.
And my response to that, to the chairman of the board, Ms. Betty, was, I said, how do we have a Zoom meeting where the public can participate unless we're all in the room and they have, and observe? You see what I mean? And so that's the reason that board decided to keep it at its regular time and offer that to her.
And we had public participation,
Right.
which we normally don't.
Right.
So we need to try to figure out maybe how we want to handle those.
Well, to Mr.
Because we don't
Casey,
have that many of them, I realize that.
Mr. Casey, to your point, you know, it needs to be very clear, anyone who wants to address the board, and especially in a special meeting, needs to be clear what the agenda is for the public, for the notice of the public, because it needs to be a public purpose.
That's what
And it was. And we had some general ideas about what it was going into it. But anything that's going to be, you know, out of just mutual respect, you know, a lot of that can be handled if you know if you're not caught off guard.
Right.
And then it's not a trial by ambush, you know, and I don't think it was intended to, but I wasn't here, but, you know, I understand that, you know, some things got aired out that were there, and, you know, there was some assumptions going into this that didn't come out in the meeting. And so it creates some confusion unless there's clear communication.
all I got, Mr. Chairman.
Is that it?
Yep.
Everybody clear? Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we adjourn.
All in favor, please stand up and lift.
Turn the record.